Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me, right? Bring in a fit, trespass against me, and I forgive him till 7 times. I wonder if this chronologically is after Jesus' teaching of Luke 17, where he said, forgive them 7 times. I wonder if he's going, wow, that's a lot. 22, but Jesus says unto him, I say not unto you until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him which owed him 10,000 talents. But for as much as he had not to pay, his Lord commanded him to be sold, and his wife, and his children, and all that he had, and payment to be made. The servant therefore fell down and worshipped him, saying, Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. Then the Lord of that servant was moved with compassion. Remember that word. And he loosed him, and he forgave him the debt. But the same servant went out and found one of his fellow servants, which owed him 100 pence. You probably heard this before. In comparison, this is a tiny amount. And he laid hands on him and took him by the throat, saying, pay me that you owe. And his fellow servant fell down at his feet and besought him, saying, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. Does that sound familiar? And he would not, but he went and cast him into prison till he should pay the debt. So when his fellow servants saw what was done, they were very sorry, and came and told unto their Lord all that was done. And then his Lord, after that he had called him, said unto him, O thou wicked servant, I forgave thee all that debt because you desired me, you asked me. Should not you also have had compassion on your fellow servant, even as I had pity on you? And his Lord was angry, he was wroth, and delivered him to the tormentors till he should pay all that was due unto him. Verse 35, so likewise shall my heavenly Father do also unto you, if you from your hearts forgive not everyone his brother their trespasses. There's 2 big questions I want to answer, and then we're going to talk about what forgiveness is and what it is not. Very practical. I hope it's going to be very helpful for you. Question number 1, why is real forgiveness so hard? And the answer, at least a big part of the answer, is this. The answer is debt. The concept of debt is super important if we're going to rightly understand forgiveness. Let me see if we can work through this. You might have read this story before. In fact, you probably did. There's a lot of amazing teaching that's on this. But this idea of debt is really, really important to the whole idea of forgiveness. And sometimes it gets lost in the other kind of teaching that comes right out of the surface of it. So what is this idea about debt? Let me see if we can work this. In both illustrations, there is debt. Illustration 1 in verse 24, the servant is owed the king 10,000 talents. Illustration 2, verse 28, the other servant owed the first servant 100 pence. So here's the thing. Somebody has to pay that debt. Either the one who owes the debt, the servant, or the one who is owed has to take it on himself. But somebody has to pay it. There's a debt. It has to be paid. Either the one who owes it is going to pay it for themselves, or in forgiveness, the one who is owed the money takes it on himself. He carries the debt himself. Okay, let's talk about forgiveness. Track this with me. In all cases, when wrong is done, when an offense happens, there is a debt. Someone has done something to me. They've taken something from me. They've hurt me in some way. And when that happens, I feel it. You might have never understood it in these terms, but you feel it. Every person, human alive, feels this. What you feel is you feel a debt. You might have said it like, or at least felt it like, well, they owe me. You hurt me. I am not going to be satisfied with that until something is paid, till something takes place that satisfies the debt that I feel. But here's the deal. The payment in wrongs, right, these kinds of debts is not money. The payment of personal debts is always suffering. So here's how it works, and this is going to make sense to you when you start to think about your own relationships. You have made me suffer. You hurt me. I was wounded. I've been carrying the weight of this. The payment for my suffering is you suffering. This is why we respond the way that we do when somebody's hurt me. I'm not going to feel good about this until you feel pain at least some of the level that I feel it. This is the reason why we ignore people. This is the reason why we get angry and we lash out at people. This is the reason why we say things to hurt them. You have hurt me. Why in the world do I say another whole conversation? Why do I say something like that to hurt you? Because I want you to hurt in the same way that I'm hurt. This payment has to be equaled in some way. So either you make the perpetrator suffer, or, listen, or you forgive them, and then you have to suffer it yourself. You have to carry the suffering yourself. Does that make sense? The weight is truly on the one who has to forgive. And you guys, this is why God's forgiveness is so meaningful and is so powerful, because He suffered for our debt. Our debt before Him was the reason that God sent His Son to pay the debt. The debt had to be paid. Either I pay the debt myself, or in God's providence, He allowed His Son, His very personhood, to carry the debt Himself. He suffered for what I should have had to pay. That's what happens in forgiveness. And this is also why for you and me, forgiveness is so incredibly difficult. Because the weight is truly on the one who has to forgive. And the problem is that we naturally want to keep score. I mean, you did this to me. You should have to pay. No, I don't want to forgive you. Why is it so hard for us to forgive? Because forgiving removes the weight of the debt from the person who did the offense in the first place. I'm hurt, and now I have to carry your hurt too? I won't truly feel better about this until you've hurt yourself to a degree that matches. But now I'm the one that has to pay by bearing the suffering, and you get to go free. Why would anyone do that? Are you tracking this with me? Why would we do that? Well, the text tells us a couple things. Number one, we do that because of true compassion. That's the key word. I care more about you than I do my own hurt. Yeah, what you said hurt me. And when I offer forgiveness, what it means is that I'm not going to make you pay in suffering for what you've done. But the truth is, when that happens, then I will have to carry it. Why would I do that? Why would I take on the double jeopardy of the suffering? The only reason I would do that is because of compassion. Because I care for you enough, I love you enough to remove the suffering from you and to be willing to take it for you.